My name is Neil Wrigley and my area of interest is retail and consumption. Over the last 10 years we have been working on the areas of retail access, competition and retail planning. We've produced a series of pieces of work which have had a big effect on policy and also on the business of retail. We conducted one of the first studies of food deserts in UK cities. Food deserts are basically areas of highly deprived population, poorly served by the retailers. And we showed in our work on food deserts that using a food retailer as the anchor store in those types of development can work very effectively.
Corporate retail has actually abandoned large areas of cities. What that's meant is that actually people have to walk quite a long way or have to travel quite a long way to retail stores. And often it's the poorest, obviously, who are less mobile and less able to make that trip and end up buying perhaps from the equivalent of a 7-Eleven at the end of their street, which probably hasn't got the quality of fruit and vegetables that you would expect in corporate retail. So what we've got through our research is access to an understanding that the global supply chains that the big corporates provide do actually provide on a local level for consumers to access healthy food economically.
We first of all showed that retail-led regeneration was a possibility and may be very effective in some cities. There's huge interest in North America. I gave interviews to the Washington Post, articles were written in Science, and Mrs. Obama, the White House, is very interested in pushing through those type of issues. We became involved in other co-funded projects between the research councils and industry. We then went on to do a massive study over 3 years of 8 market towns and district centres in the UK. We looked at the impact of big stores built in the centre of those towns, and what we showed was that there was nothing to fear about those stores. There was a linked trip effect. The supermarket recaptured the money which was flowing out of those towns, where people visited the store and then went on to visit other retailers and service providers in the town.
This is Winchester High Street. Winchester High Street is quite dynamic, as you can see. This is a Wednesday morning and yet there's a thriving high street here. A big store put in the middle of the high street probably would have quite a detrimental effect, but actually a small store in the high street can actually add to the mix that consumers actually want.
The government picked that work up and made it available to people through the government planning portal. It was used by both the retailers, the planners and the protesters in public inquiries.
We've always looked to open shops in local communities and always believed and known that they have a beneficial impact. But what Neil's research has shown is that consumers want to shop in local high streets. They want to have a good mix of shops, including multiples and local shops, and they're really keen to ensure that the health of the high street is reflected by having that mix.
I think the changes in the retail sector that are taking place and the impact that has for high streets and town centres is one of the key challenges that we're facing in planning at the moment. It's helped us understand the locational issues and how we need to take into account the significance of supermarkets in planning town centres, and how, as town centres change, we need to take that into account.
The impact of the work is actually providing a decent and thorough evidence base to what is often a very politically infused debate about the high street. We don't want high streets that are purely mobile phone stores or purely opticians, but what we actually want is a dynamic mix.